Hey guys, it's your double E, Ina Esco, Verbally Effective Podcast in full motion. And I'm excited because I got some West Coast energy by way of Memphis with me tonight.
West Coast?
West Side! Mr. Fresh is in the building. He is the Tailor to the stars, and he's your girlfriend favorite Tailor as well. So we're going to talk to him about everything he has going on the West Side and while he's visiting Memphis. Verbally Effective, your double E, Ina Esco. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You could be doing anything in this world right now, but you are here with me and my guest for this evening. Tonight, I have with me Mr. Fresh. He is the Tailor to the stars, and he's in town here in Memphis from his hometown, and he's visiting from the West Side. And I have been blessed with his presence tonight. Hi, Fresh.
What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're
Chilling
here.
with my girl, Ina.
Yes, you are. And, you know, how long ago? It was around Christmas time we first met at the Pocket.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, windy at the time. It was windy at the time. I was like, we got to get him on the pod.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so you're here.
Before she was born again.
Before she was born again, she's Sanaa. Everybody knows she's Sanaa now. But we love her.
This is back when she was a heathen.
She was a heathen?
Yeah, it was one of them heathen nights.
Oh, it was
like,
so fun. I heard
heathen.
y'all had a part 2.
He was like,
Dang.
you acting like a Wendy right now.
Oh my! But she's a Sanaa.
Oh, she's so nice right now. so proud of her. She's come so far.
Fresh. So tell me about yourself. I follow you on social media, and one thing I love about you, you seem so.
You follow me on social media where?
On Instagram.
Instagram.
You don't follow me back though.
You talking about Instagram /richfresh _
Rich Fresh, right?
Richfresh _
Underscore.
Oh, I just want to know where it was you was following me. I was curious.
Yeah, on Facebook too.
Oh, Facebook / Tailor.
That's you.
Oh, that one. Oh, I just wanted to double check. I wasn't sure which one.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun pod. But look, you do your Insta stories, and you seem so transparent and just yourself, and just kind of speaking from the dome and letting people know what's up. So is Instagram your favorite?
It's so much fun. Yeah, Instagram's great. The Instagram stories make it more fun. Mm-hmm. But Instagram's cool because it's very visual.
Yeah.
So you can really tell a story. And I don't like words. I'm better with like the pictures and stuff.
Pictures. Videos.
Yeah, and the videos are fun because people don't realize, like, I don't think people attribute my personality to my product because they think my product's all refined, and then they hear me and they realize that this guy's different.
Yes, like
some
it's
weird
so much
shit going on over here.
Depth into the man. Now, where did you grow up in Memphis?
Oh, where? So I moved here when I moved here in high school. I moved here when I was 15.
Moved from where?
Little Rock.
Okay.
So yes, I was in Little Rock when I first started sewing. It was actually in Little Rock. Like when I actually got the fashion bug was in Little Rock.
Okay. How did that start?
So I was never, what one would say, a well-dressed child.
No.
No, I kind of look like trash. Not trash, but I just was not like, fashion was just not a thing. It was more like, know yourself and be healthy. The things that are really important. The parents are like, oh, you should just focus on being smart. But it's like you got this social dynamic, and the way you look plays such a big role in that social dynamic. And I was in middle school, and I was just like so poorly dressed. I was like the second worst dressed kid at school. I always say second worst dressed. It's not a lie. I was the second worst dressed kid in my school.
First?
This dude named Wardell Henson. I'm gonna say his name too. That boy was hurt. Only difference between me and him was he had glasses, and when he laughed, he snorted. That's the only thing that's only
made him one.
That's it. That's it. He was number one, just because of that. I've never been a winner. I've always been okay with coming in second. But yeah, so I was tutoring this cheerleader she was really cool. She actually lives here. Her name's Tamara. Shout out the Hardens, Tamara Harden, Earl Harden. And so, I went to middle school with her. So I was tutoring her, and she was really cool, and she was like real pretty, and she was a cheerleader. It was like, I don't know my head from my ass when it comes to girls or any of these things that are important at this stage. Like, if I learn this now, my life will be easier. And we just kind of had like this, agreement. Like, look, I'm gonna put you up on game with math or whatever it was that we were dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of put me up on game with like, the social shit. Like, what is it the girls, are into and not into, and we just had conversations, and it just evolved and evolved. A bunch of stuff I realized I couldn't do, like girls are really into guys who are athletic. And then, I just when I found out that I'm just not the athletic guys, I can just mark that one off, find something different. And literally the last thing that we talked about was like the way I dress, and she was like, you just don't dress nice. Like, your clothes are kind of bad. If you dress better, like, I mean, girls will probably like you. Like, you probably be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And so
y'all made a pact?
Yeah, it was just like, we just would talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every day, we talk about whatever the school subject matter was, and I would just ask her questions, and she was just gracious enough to answer them,
Mm-hmm.
And then, so 13, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should dress better. Okay, well, how do I need to do this? Well, maybe I need to, maybe I should really, like, study it, like, really learn it, so I'm not just, like, buying the wrong stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I just started finding whatever I could find, little magazines, anything that had nice clothes on it. I was just like, just to look through it and skim through it and see what is nice, what's not nice. What do people think is nice? What's the stuff that people pay attention to? What are the wording that they use? And, into it, I was reading like these biographies. I was reading Ralph Lauren's biography, Calvin Klein's. And Calvin Klein had sewed, like their first collection that they put together, he and his partner sewed like the runway pieces. So I figured, well, if I really want to know how to do this, I should probably know how to sew. Because then I can kind of like control where my image goes. And so I'm 13, and I'm just like, all right, cool, let's learn how to sew. So we had a sewing machine that was just in our laundry closet. And I always looked at it and just didn't know what it was, but it was always there. So I just took it. I was like, no one's going to miss it. I'm just going to take it. So
Did
I took
your
it.
mom sew?
She sewed, but like I never saw her sew, but I know she sewed stuff for me and my siblings when we were young.
Okay.
I found out like my granddad sewed in the Navy.
Wow.
But like,
it's in your blood.
yeah, it's in my blood. Like, I just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, took it and just looking at it, kind of figured out how to thread it and how to figure it out. And I started, getting little patterns and playing around with it. Still basic, but I was starting to understand fashion. So then we moved here when I was 15, at which point I understand, like, I think I understood fashion more. And I kind of understood, the position I wanted to be in. And it was going to be much easier to start over in Memphis than come from being like the nerdy, shy kid to trying to be like this cool dude in the same environment. Like, man, you're going to a new place. It's a rebranding opportunity. So it was just like, all right, how do we want to brand ourselves? And I was like, well, shit, let me be the fly dude, still quiet and whatnot, but fly, well-dressed, clothes fit nice. And so, like, without even having an understanding of what tailoring was, I was just tailoring my stuff because they had to look a certain way, And then I bought so much polo, so much Tommy. And it was dope. I had, like when you got the same polo boot in the same color, just in case one of them gets messed up one day.
Dang, it was like that?
It was like that, like stupid stuff. But
you was fresh though.
I was fresh though. I was fresh though. And the first day of high school, this brand new school, it should be the scariest day of my life. Brand new school in Memphis. This is not an easy city.
No, it's not.
And so I just remember I was so fresh. I walked down the hall and I felt like Drake.
What high school was this?
Bolton.
Oh.
Bolton's something. Bowden's interesting because it's got this like dual dynamic.
Mixture, yeah.
It's a real mixture.
So how did the guys respond to you, the new boy from Arkansas, fresh as hell? Who this guy think he is? Or were they cool?
No, they were cool. It was like I found out like dudes don't trip. Like I'm not stepping on any toes. You know, I do my own thing and it's fresh. And they're like, he is fresh though. Like, you can't claim he is fresh. So we should probably get cool with dude because he's gonna probably get a lot of the girls around him. So he can't take all of them, or they didn't think I could.
Oh.
But, y'all hear that? But no, I couldn't. But yeah, so I was like, damn man, this clothes, the clothes thing, this shit really works. And I was super popular in high school, and then so when I left high school, I had a choice. I was really smart. I tested really well. And, the plan was to go to college, just do that normal thing.
Where did you want to go?
I wanted to go to Clark. I wanted to go to Morehouse. I wanted to go to Stanford. I wanted to go to a lot of places I wanted to go.
And where did you end up?
So I ended up at U of M.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's not a diss to the U of M, but, like, that was not my plan, because I decided before I graduated, like, I'm gonna do fashion. Like, I'm not gonna do the normal college thing. I'm gonna do fashion. And like, I didn't know anyone who had ever done it. Something was like, this is dope. Like, this fashion shit is like real. Like, my life changed. My peers' lives changed. Like, my siblings. Hell, my brother Chase used to dress like dog shit. Oh, dog shit, horse shit,
like
ground
that?
Horse shit. It was terrible.
I bet he fresh
molded.
now though.
He too fresh now though.
I see.
But old fresh moldy dog shit.
Damn.
And I was just like, hey bro, man, you gonna mess up my branding with that shit, bro.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Right.
No, come on, bro.
You changing lives around
Yeah,
here.
but he was still rugged, but he had that demeanor at this point. So I just saw like how it changed people. I was like, this seems more powerful to me than architecture or finance or medicine. Like, for me, I think this could be like a thing I could use to, help, in a way, because it helped me a lot. And that was it. So I just made that decision. Family was not really into it.
Why not?
Yeah, it's the 90s, man. And fashion, like, it's still the South. So this is the 90s. And so you got scholarships to go to school.
But you want to
and you want to do fashion? It's like, this doesn't make sense. Why are you doing this? This is stupid. You needed to, like, you need to take these damn scholarships.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. I want to do fashion. I made up my mind. I've already seen it. And so we just did that thing. And so that's why I ended up at U of M, because I just couldn't stay at the house. Had to do something. So I went to U of M.
So what did you study at U of M? Business?
Nah, so I went to U of M. I just studied architecture, but I only did my prereqs. Like, I was only there for a year.
Okay.
I just did like a year of prerequisites, and I was like, I didn't know. Like,
you knew that.
No, I'm not here to be an architect either. I could have been an architect. I could have gone to a big school to be an architect. No, that's not what I'm doing. So I dropped out, and then just did some little bullshit, like bank teller. I did everything. I was a bank teller, all kind of shit. Oh my God, I was a bank teller. I waited tables.
This is in Memphis. This is after you said, fuck U of M, I can't do this no more.
Yeah, I was 19.
But were you doing fashion while you were doing these other odd jobs?
So, I wasn't really. I was still sewing, just as like a hobby. The thing that I used to really make, I used to get into it. My ex-wife, her nieces were real young when we first got together. I used to make them like little baby dresses. I used to make dresses all the time. I just thought it was cute to just make these little baby dresses. And that was really my thing. Like, I just thought it was cool. I just really didn't have any concept of how to make it into a business. And then I did. So after I dropped out, I'm working these little odd jobs. Someone said something about the fashion show at U of M. The black Student Association, BSA. And someone knew I could sew. They was like, oh, you should do it. And first I was gonna model in it, but that didn't work out. So I was like, yeah, let me put some pieces together. And that was my first like fashion things. I did 13 pieces. I just sat in my living room and just made like it was it was crazy stuff. I just found like the patterns at Walmart, modified them a little bit, and just did my thing. And that was cool. That was just like my first experience seeing like something going across the stage. I was like, man, that's just kind of cool. Yeah, I made everything. I sat in there by myself and made all them pieces. And so after that, I probably spent all my money and I think I made nothing. So I was like, well, this shit ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna do this shit twice. But I do like the sewing thing. It was kind of fun. How can we do more of this? And I was like, you know what? Why don't we do alterations? Because everybody wears clothes and people's clothes don't fit. Everyone seems to like how my clothes fit. I have an eye for how clothes should fit. Well, maybe I can figure that one out. So I started doing that, just hustling on the side. And then I started thinking about scale, and I was like, well, shit, if I want to make some real money doing this, I should be doing this in bulk. So then I just set up like an outsourcing company where I went around all these dry cleaners. It was like, yo, you have a bunch of clothes that you need altered, and you don't necessarily have a staff that can handle that. How about I come and take that off your hands? And I'll pick it up 3 days a week, 2-day turnaround. Here's the wholesale rate. You're still making money, and you got to take on none of the work. I'm going to do it all. And that was cool, and that just picked up real quick. I just walked in and was like, shit, hell yeah, take the shit. And so that was my first business, and I did that for like a year or two, and I moved downtown, and then I'm just giving you my life story. This is cool.
It's so interesting.
And so then I moved downtown, and I'm at the South Main, the train station. And so I'm enjoying that. It's like, oh, it's cool. And, there's no grocery store. There are all these necessities. It's like, damn, man, we ain't got none of this stuff. And one of the things that was missing was a dry cleaner. I was like, dude, there's no cleaners. I'm dealing with all these cleaners, and there's no cleaners downtown. And so I opened up a cleaners. I was like, well, I'm going to open a cleaners at a tailor shop. And so I opened that on South Main next to where Cheesecake Corner is. So there's like a bar that's there now, but that's where my spot used to be. And I was like 21. And so, it was really cool. It was dope right up. It was a good experience, like just the entrepreneurial experience, having to pay rent and having to do all these things and figuring out what's necessary, what's not. I was there for like 2 years, and then, we closed the business. And then I just started doing like personal, where I would go to see clients. It was like, I don't need this, I don't need rent. I don't need to be stuck in this spot. I like moving about and getting the people, because then people can see me. I can possibly get other clients. So I started doing like personal tailoring, where I would go to someone's office or to their crib. And I just saw like that was more effective. The relationships got stronger that way. And so I was like, cool, let's do it that way. I literally have not had a brick and mortar since 2002.
And you prefer that?
I mean, yeah, at present, like it works better for the way I operate. And I think it suits my clients' needs more. So yeah, so I went from that to doing personal tailoring, and I was dealing with a lot of politicians, some cool attorneys, people who are popping here, just grinding, just doing whatever I could to make some alterations money, like shit, I gotta make some money. I connected with one of my guys, Michael Thomas. He's a tailor. He was super popping when I was just coming up. And he was young, so I would just hang out at his shop and just kind of vibe. Again, just hustling, just whatever I can do. I remember getting in my car one night. I thought this dude was going to kill me. Yeah, it was weird. It was so random. I had my business card at some fabric store, so I got a call. Someone was like, yeah, man, I got these pants. I need the waist taken in on like 4 pair of pants. And I was like, okay. Well, sure, yeah. He was like, yeah, can you come out to my house? I was like, oh, sure. Here's how much it's going to cost you. It was nothing. I'll tell you, I think I charged that man $60. I drove to his house to tailor 4 pair of pants for that man. I charged him $60. It's a long time ago. God is good. And so I get out to this house, and it's dark. And he was out in Millington. I didn't realize how deep Millington went.
Yes.
Man, shit. It wasn't like no street lights. I saw deers and shit. And so I get to this house, and the first sign was I park, and this cat's leaving the front door. This cat's walking out the front door, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to go in here. But I was already there, so I went in, and this dude, he's just like, it's just like the stereotypical guy. You're not gonna leave. He's not gonna let you leave. He's got some friends just locked up, and he just can't wait to introduce you. And I think I called you. I think I called him, and I kept his ass on speakerphone the whole time I was there sewing. I was like, yeah, man, I'm just here, just sewing, just getting this work done. I was like, get the hell about this new house. But that's how long I've been doing it. Just whatever, shit, $60, $100, whatever.
Was that a lot back then for you?
No, but
it was something.
It adds up,
Yeah.
Gas was $1.29 back then.
Yeah.
Rent was like, it was nothing. Rent was like, what, $600 for a 2-bedroom?
The good old days.
Yeah, back then. Things started progressing, like I did a situation with Tom Shelton. From Shelton Clothiers, I connected with him and was like, yo, you got a bunch of suits. You need a tailor. I'm the dopest tailor. I'm going to set up down here. I'm going to rent this space. I'm going to do all the tailoring that gets done here. All that shit comes to me, and I'm going to bring my own clients in here. So I had that business, and that was dope. And that's like the first time I brought in staff. So I brought someone else in to do some work also. I was like, oh shit, so I can have someone work and I can step up and do some shit. I started figuring that thing out. Once that, left that situation, did something else. Then I went to work at Oak Hall for a minute, I thought that, like, I was dating a girl who just had a different mindset, like, didn't understand the desires of an entrepreneur. Like, we're just not satisfied with certain. Status quo is like, who gives a fuck?
Right.
I don't care. I don't care about no status quo. Well, most people, that's the wrong way to start a conversation with me. And, I gave it a shot. I thought, like, something like that could be cool. It could be steady. I could grow with it. And I got there, this fly, young, black dude, tailored up, super fresh. Knows how to do his thing. I went in there, I was suited and everything. And, them folk offered me like, what, $10 an hour or something stupid like that. I was like, yeah, I want $20 an hour. He was like, sure, yeah, well, let's get you in, and, let's figure it out. And then once I got in, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, we're only gonna give you $10 an hour, and it's assembly. And so I quickly realized, like, nah, I ain't about this life. So I left that, and then I moved to New York. I was like, you know what? But I do need to learn how to tailor more. Like, I'm good, but I should be great, and I'm not gonna get great here because this is as good as it gets, and I'm already killing everybody. So I need to go somewhere else where I'm a baby. So I was like, I'm out. And I sent resumes off to New York. Never been to New York before. I just sent off resumes. I got some calls back. I took a flight. I went there. I was there for 48 hours. I went on 7 interviews in 48 hours.
Damn.
Yeah. And like with tailoring interviews, you can't just go in and talk. You got to do some shit too. Like, oh, great. So you can do all this and this? Oh, it's great. It's great. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, well, let's go get on the machine. And they take you right on down there. It's like, here's a suit. Get to it.
They want to see your craft.
They're going to, yep. So it was a lot of work, but I got a few offers, and so I came back, got my stuff, and then a few weeks later I moved to New York. So I got out there, I'm doing my thing, I'm learning it, figuring out, like, really getting technical. Now I'm learning how to, like, tailor. This is getting fascinating. And I'm working with some big brands, so I'm getting, like, my first taste of, like, luxury. Like, luxury, like, and at that time, it was like a $1,200 suit was like luxury, like shit. Because you just don't really see that here.
But you were like understanding like the whole science of it. Like
yeah.
Fabrics.
Fabrics, like how to take this sleeve off, recut this shoulder, put this sleeve back on with my hands, like that type of shit. So I was getting real technical. And then the market crashed. I remember I was on the bus because I lived in Jersey, and I would travel into New York every morning. And so I'm on the bus in Jersey. It's my birthday. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take myself to a movie. I think it was Batman or something. I'm gonna take myself to a movie. It was either Batman or Bond. And I'm on the bus, and I get a call so I had 2 jobs in New York. I was tailoring at 2 different spots, making a lot of money too. And when the market crashed, I go into one spot, and the owner is like in a Ferrari with his like 25-year-old girlfriend. Like, I'm out of here, man. I'm going to Italy. I'm like, so what's gonna happen? Yeah, we're just gonna shut the place down for a while.
Damn.
So what's gonna happen? We're gonna shut the place down for a while. So what's gonna happen? You ain't got no job, motherfucker. So but I had this other job to fall back on. So and that was Hickey Freeman. So I'm doing Hickey. Everything's cool. It's more corporate. So I'm on this bus. I'm about to go see this movie. I'm treating myself for my birthday, and I get this phone call like, "Hey man, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm great. It's my birthday. I'm headed to see a movie." "Oh, it's great. So gotta lay you off." Wow.
Same day?
The same day. I'm on the bus headed, and I'm also supposed to go pick up the keys to my apartment. So I'm like, shit. Oh, this isn't what I expected. So I remember. I think the first person I called was Michael Thomas. Like, dude, I just got fired from my job, and I think I'm gonna come back to Memphis. So I did. I moved back to Memphis, and in like spring of 2008.
Yeah.
Like early spring. It was like February, like mid-February, and maybe it was still winter. And when I got back, that's when I was like, shit. So I got some cleanings, some dry cleaners again to kind of get that money. And then my daughter was real young. And so, then I ended up like getting my daughter. So my daughter was with me all the time. I'm still figuring it out. And that's when I started doing the bags, which, you see here. You can't see it because I'm talking.
My present that you brought
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, my present that I brought you. I just got to take it back with me to personalize it. And then I'm going to... So then
you started doing the bags.
Yeah. So then I started doing bags.
What made you want to start doing the bags? You were doing all these things with clothing, learning the craft and everything. Where the bags come from?
Funny story. So I get back, right, and I'm staying at my partner's crib, my partner Ephraim's crib, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a damn jacket. I'm gonna make a jacket from scratch. Like a nice jacket. And I put a lot of time into it. I had like a mannequin, a torso. I just built it on it. It was so intricate. It took me weeks to do it. And I remember one of my partners came through to pick up some alterations or something. And he saw it and he was like, bro, this jacket goes, bro. Damn, bro. And he went to slip it on and it wasn't his size. I didn't make it for him. He's like, shit, bro, can you make another one? Can you make one my size? And I was like, hell no. Absolutely not. No, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not making nothing I'm not doing that. So I was like, I need to be able to make something that's not size dependent because I just need to make something. And I was like, you're going to make bags. Everybody likes bags. And so I just started making, they were these weird, like half circle bags. Mm-hmm. They were like this synthetic material. I used to print pictures of flowers on them. You remember those? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were big. Yeah, it was just like something to do, and I had them little plastic zippers. I've always done the plastic zippers, which is like a cool thing. I never left that. And then I started. It was fun, and people started enjoying it and liking it. So I could subsidize. I make some money here with that, and then still do alterations. Shit, at a certain point, I cut out alterations and was just doing bags straight up for like a year. Wow. Yeah, it was a fun time. I'm a greedy person. I'm a hungry person. I want things. I want all that shit. If you think about all that shit, I want all that shit. I just didn't think that I was going to get all that shit being here.
In Memphis.
Yeah. I just didn't think all this shit was going to come to me here. But I wanted all that shit. And I'm really good at math. So if I want all that shit and I'm not going to get all that shit here, then I have to go somewhere else to get all that shit. Because I have to have all that shit. And so, my brother had just come to Memphis recently. He'd, his company was laying off, so it was just like fuck. So he came to Memphis, and so it's me, him, my daughter, and with my small apartment. I was just like, man, I bet there's more to life outside these walls. He was like, let's just dip. And I was like, where? So let's go to the West Coast, man. We ain't never been to the West Coast. Let's just do it. And we decided to go, and then my sister happened to be going out there the same time we were going out, so. It's like we were getting all these signs like, yeah, move in this direction. And so 3 weeks after deciding to do so, we left. We just moved. Didn't know anybody, but we just, we're like, oh my God, the water's cold. Some people stand there all day, but they fucking with it with their toe. Oh, it's so cold. It's so cold. we're just like, I really want to swim, and we're just gonna jump in. Eventually, our bodies will just adapt. Living in San Diego, beautiful city, and shit, man, and that's like, so thus far I've given you like a fifth, maybe.
That's just a fifth?
That's just a fifth.
Damn. What did you notice immediately different about when you first stepped foot in on the East Coast versus the West Coast? From a
the
fashion
energy
perspective.
Oh, fashion perspective is garbage.
On both ends?
No, on the West Coast.
On the West Coast was
Man,
fashion
San
was
Diego,
garbage?
that shit was garbage.
What did they
Babbage.
wear?
Shorts, board shorts and T-shirts and
Like
flip-flops.
Surfer dude.
All day long.
Gnarly dude.
All day long.
So you say I gotta do something about this.
Yeah, like we were really like, we were trying to establish sort of that type of vibe in San Diego. And we were doing so, like we had this small little cult situation, and we were like really getting dudes real fresh. Like my brother and I were known for it. We were colorful guys. And then, we got involved in another business. We created a hangover product. It's hangover cure. That's a whole nother conversation. And so, as I said, it's a whole nother conversation.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Are you alcoholics here in Memphis? When the time comes, I got something for you. But we just kept having all these cool experiences, like being well-dressed dudes. And that's actually when I first got into custom. I didn't start doing custom until San Diego. I wanted to be the guy who knew how to operate the machine. Like I would see tailors all the time who didn't know how to thread a needle, and I just didn't respect that. It's like, don't call yourself a doctor and you don't know what to do with a stethoscope. Right. You know what I'm saying? Say that you're something else, but don't say you're a doctor. So I always took offense to people calling themselves tailors and they could not tailor. So I always wanted to make sure that I could tailor if I was going to call myself a tailor. So at a certain point I was like, you know what? It's time to do custom. So my brother and I, we had encountered this guy. Here's how I got into custom. Bobby with the ponytail. Hippie Bobby. So
who is Bobby?
We met this dude in San Diego, right? It's this white cat named Bobby. He had the beard. He's like your quintessential weed smoking guy that makes money in tech. Super cool. Dude, what's up, guys? Bro, like super chill. Drove a cool Porsche, beautiful house. His wife was like an executive. Yo, what's up, guys? Oh, dude, you guys are so great, bro. Oh, man, great. Yeah. Oh, you guys should come over for dinner. Yeah, we're having quinoa and shit and kale. And
how did you meet Bobby?
How did I meet Bobby? I met Bobby because what was that chick's name? The stylist. Majuba. So there was this stylist named Majuba who had come across. I think Majuba met my brother.
Okay.
Or someone. And she was this big stylist out there. And so she was like, oh, this guy can do alterations. So she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I got a client who lost a lot of weight. He needs something done. So I went to go see him. He had this Armani suit. And it just didn't. It was like 2 sizes too big. He lost like 40 pounds. So I know how to do all this because I've done this before in New York. So I'm taking sleeves off, recutting the body, like changing the whole thing. I get this thing back to him. It's a totally different suit, and he's flipping his shit like, "How did you do this? This is amazing. This is impossible." And I'm like, "Oh man, and he's just blown away." So he's like, "Man, how much do I owe you?" It was like $400. He's like, "Cool." He paid that $400 gladly.
Like it wasn't none.
And then he says, "Man, it's crazy, bro. I have a closet full of these expensive ass suits, and none of them fit." It's like I always know the right question to ask, and something made me say, how expensive? Oh, this suit, this Armani, it was maybe like, I don't know, man, like $2,500, maybe $3,000. I was like, you got more of them? He's like, oh, hell yeah. And he opens up this closet, and he literally had like dozens of like Canali, Armani, Zegna. I'm like, how much is this? It was like $2,000, $1,800. Oh, that was like $3,000. I was like, what the fuck? That's where the money's at? Nah, I'm tripping. No, I'm getting the wrong money. I'm on the wrong side of this coin. So I was like, yo, we getting into custom. So I set that up, started doing custom in San Diego, started making a little bit of money, start figuring out, you got to go through a period of missing your shots before your shot gets real good. I needed to miss my shots in San Diego and not LA. So I had a chance to missed shots with people who didn't even know that I was missing shots because they didn't know style.
What counts as a missed shot?
She just like looking kind of whack. Like it could have fit better. Mm-hmm. I know this, but you may not know it. You kind of think it's cool, but in my mind, I'm like, no. In a perfect world, I would have done it like this.
Right.
So it gave me an opportunity to like get all that out the way. So then, you know, my brother and I were getting involved in this other business. It's going great. We're living this high life. And then, you know, the business just dissolved like overnight almost.
Why?
And it's another long story. Just having the wrong people in charge of the wrong shit. I.e.
San Diego.
Yeah, i.e. the money.
Okay.
And so, you know, we're thrust from like, you know, living in, you know, fucking mansion and driving, you know, Maserati and like really living that life to like struggling again. It's like, dude, I'm not rebuilding in San Diego. I don't feel like rebuilding here. So I'm gonna move to LA. I'm gonna rebuild in LA. So I just, same thing, put out some resumes, you know, specifically in Beverly Hills. I'm like, if I'm gonna do it in LA, I'm gonna do the luxury shit. Let's figure it out. So I went to Rodeo, did that piece. I got hired at Xenia, which is a really big company. You know, I'm doing that and now I'm selling it. So now I'm not doing tailoring no more. Now I'm on the sales side of it. So I'm now realizing I can also sell.
Are you a good seller?
I was the number one seller. You know, I was the number one seller and I was the only black dude on the floor. And so, you know, I got tattoos, I got hand tattoos, I got piercings. But I know my shit, and I know tailoring, and I know clothes.
So that was like the key component.
That was it. It was like, he's the guy.
Because he know what the fuck.
Yeah, look at how that shit fits. He's the guy. And so my sales are just through the roof. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's not. It's exactly the way it's supposed to happen. I'm glad it did. But, you know, it's the story we hear over and over of the guy who's super talented and the environment he was in did not appreciate that talent. Instead, they were threatened by that talent and thought to minimize that talent. How can we minimize this talent and minimize this person so we can have more control over him? And so, you know, I see this shit clear as day. So I knew like it's time to mob. So I was like, all right, well, let's start our business over again. Let's do custom. I didn't really know anyone in LA because all I did was work. And, you know, my daughter was there, so I'm just working, parenting. So I didn't take any time to really develop a social dynamic at all. There was no social anything. But what I had noticed about LA is that they love events.
Yeah.
All you got to do is, you want people to come to your restaurant? Say it's an event. They'll be there. Build events around things, and people will come to it. You get enough people. And then, you know, now it's just a ratio number. You get enough people in the house, some of them are supposed to spend some money if you have a means of them spending some money. So I thought it'd be cool to build like a pop-up concept where I would throw these little parties and just have like beautiful girls come and like bartend. And I would just have like mannequins and like suits and shit on them. Or like clothes suspended from the ceiling. And people come and look at it like it's a museum. And then they come and they order clothes. Here's fabric books. I'm going to take your measurements. I can take your payment. Let's get it.
A one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Come on in here. Let's get it popping. And so I did that. I put this idea together. I built out a website, made it cool, made it real sexy, and I called it the Scotch Tutorial. And it hit. It did really cool in LA.
Were people very supportive of like your first one you had?
Yeah, but not like people who knew me. It was just like people who I just randomly encountered. It was like, damn man, you dress really nice. Oh yeah. Oh. Come check this out. Come check this out. But, you know, my job didn't know I was doing it. Like a lot of people didn't know I was doing it. And, you know, I went back to work and I just had this great weekend of my kickoff event. I made all this money. I made like 5 figures my first, like, you know, my first at it. And so I'm like, there's no way I'm going to deal with any more shit at this job. Day I go back into work, they're trying to write me up over being 15 minutes late to work like 3 months ago.
Oh, they heard about that pop-up.
Oh, man. Well, they also heard about
that money,
about that pink slip was in my pocket. That I had to hand to them. So, you know, so now I'm in LA. I don't have a job. You know, I got this little momentum. I got to keep it going. LA is interesting. You know, you can be up and you can be down. man, it was just like figuring out. It's just like I don't know, I feel like in everything, there's like a code that you crack at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like once you crack that code, it's like it's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
But until you crack that code, it's so difficult. It was so difficult. No matter what I did, I just did all the wrong shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very difficult, and I went very broke very quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like super assed out. And then and then like my brother moved up from San Diego to LA, and then he had another business going, so he had things rolling, so I moved into his crib. And then that's when I got on Instagram comes around, and my brother's like, yo, you need to get on Instagram. I'm like, I don't want no damn Instagram.
So your brother was the techie one.
He's a techie
he knew
one.
from the get-go you needed to be on this visual.
He's an Instagram marketer. Like, he was an Instagram guy. I'm not Instagram. He's an internet marketer. So yeah, like, he knew all about this. I don't know that crap. I'm the dude who would sit in a sewing machine sewing. And he was like, man, I'm gonna set it up. So he set up my Instagram. So started taking little pictures, doing little stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at this party, and I run into this guy who runs this big fashion blog for like tailors. It's like it was called Articles of Style. And I meet him at a party, and at this party I happen to have 4 clients who are there dressed in my clothes. And so we're talking, and the guy walks out. He's like, damn, that dude's fresh. He's like, oh yeah, no, and I used to go by Rich back then. He's like, yeah, Rich made it. It's like, oh shit. And then another dude walks by. He's like, man, that's a nice shirt. Yeah, Rich made it. He's like, you made all this shit? I'm like, yeah. He was like, dude, I need to come check you out. So he came through, checked out the setup. I was like, man, I need to do a little story on you. And that kind of like thrust me into the eye of all these people who are interested in the tailoring world, because he had like hundreds of thousands of followers. And so he had a huge profile, and so that kind of like gave me some notoriety in that industry, which is great. So from there, things changed some more and got cool and got interested. I moved downtown, got this cool spot. Then, my brother's also like on my ass, like, yo, bro, let's go out and do some shit. Hey, man, because, he's working from a computer, so he's like, he got time and freedom and shit, It's all special. Hey, man, you want to go down to the beach? I'm like, no, dude, I got to sew. I got to do work. He's like, man, you need to hire somebody, dude, so you ain't always sitting in a machine. And so, unbeknownst to me, he goes and places an ad for a tailor or a seamstress. So I start getting these random calls from people like, what the fuck? What do you mean? You call me out a job? I ain't got no job. It's like, yeah, it's a Craigslist ad. And I was like, oh. So that's when so that's the first time I really started thinking about, let me build it that way. So did that, switched it up. I started really focusing on Instagram and really deciding like I did not want to be a plain Jane tailor making black and blue suits and gray suits for financial advisors and middle management. That's not what I wanted to do. And so I knew I was going to do different stuff, and I knew I was going to have to price it different. And so as I'm making these changes, like I'm losing clients because I don't want to do the plain things anymore. I don't want to do belt loops. I don't want to do black suits. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do cheap price points. I don't want to do sales.
What do you want to do?
I want to do Tom Ford. Like I want to do that shit. I want to do that fly shit. Mm-hmm. And when you start making those changes, you lose people, you gain people. And I figured that one out too. Like, don't be afraid to change, because you're gonna lose people. But for every person you lose, you're going to gain someone.
Did it ever discourage you when you would go through those transitions like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially when you broke. You know what I'm saying?
Especially.
And it's like, shit, but if I just do this, I'll have some money. I don't like to compromise. Mm-hmm. Like, if I decide to do something, I don't let money, like, sway it. Like, fuck, well, I know I shouldn't, but I really need this $100, so I'm going to do it anyhow. I just go without. I just figure it out differently. Mm-hmm. And so I just figured it out. And then I like went super broke, and like I lost my apartment. I was like sleeping out of a friend's office. And still same thing. Like, I still had the same mindset. Like, I still want to do it my way. And a friend had hit me up. And she was like, I got a friend at Barney's who's looking for a tailor. I told her about you. I was like, word. So I went in, did an interview. You know, they were offering decent money.